Recently, Tony Khan claimed that numerous individuals are attempting to sabotage AEW's success. Really? Who might that be? He doesn't name names. Tony Khan continues to shape AEW's direction according to his vision. What is your vision, Tony? Originally, your vision, not just to be an alternative, but you were going to be sports-centric. Wins and losses matter, and professional wrestling was going to be presented in a way more similar to sports. That didn't last long. It was a dumb idea to begin with, because you book yourself into a freaking corner you never get out of, which is why it didn't last very long. But you tried to go back a couple times, and every time you dipped your toe in the water, and it was about a 2-week failed experiment, and we're done, other than an occasional random comment in your commentary. So your vision has been lacking from day one, which is one of your problems. You wanted to be the alternative. That was your stated mission initially, but you abandoned it very, very quickly and became a very poor Kmart blue light special imitation of WWE. And you're not very good at it. All right. Reports indicate that AEW talent are often left in the dark about their creative direction. I've heard a lot of that. And I went through it, man. When things are going bad, when the wheels are falling off and you're desperate and you're trying to make moves, one of the first things that goes wrong in your company is lack of communication. When things are going great, everybody's communicating, everybody's checking in, everybody's on the same page. But when the wheels start getting a little wobbly, that's when communication suffers. And apparently that's what's happening inside of AEW, because, this is not the first time we've heard this. Additionally, AEW has faced challenges with declining ticket sales. That's putting it fucking mildly. What did they have last night? 2,500 people for Dynamite in Winston-Salem with Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson. Special appearance by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. 2,500 people or whatever it was, less than 3,000. That's more than declining. That's a precipitous drop. Unbelievable, really. To happen that quickly is what makes it unbelievable. Okay, declining ticket sales and ratings. Same thing with rating. These ratings, what do they do? 622,000 people last night. Yeah, it had an 832 or 852,000 lead in. So it's not like people weren't watching TBS and we're all watching the Olympics. You had an 832,000 viewer lead in, and you immediately dropped with one of your biggest acts, almost 100,000. And it began to continue to drop all the way to the overrun, overruns are designed to end on a high note. There's a reason you create overruns. And you've totally blown the formula. You've screwed it up to the point where it's completely useless to you because you don't know how to use that particular device to create a compelling television show that encourages people to tune in the next week. That's why you have an overrun, because things are going so crazy, out of control, spontaneity. You need to go longer. You can't afford to go off the air right now because we've got to stay on this action. And we finally get to the end of the show, and whatever you resolve in the overrun, but as a cliffhanger, it's something that compels you to tune in the following week. Your overrun was the lowest rated segment of the show. Huh? I don't know that that's ever happened before. Certainly didn't happen under my watch. I don't think it's ever happened in WWE. Where you're overrun, which is the reason it should become one of the highest rated segments of your show. Number one is because of the intensity of the action, but more importantly, because of the build that final match gets throughout the entire show. The tension that you create, the anticipation that is a result of the tension and the drama that you're creating throughout the entire episode, leading until this classic matchup, the final match of the show that you've been talking about. And then it's so intense that you have to run over because you cannot afford to miss anything. That's the idea behind an overrun. These dumb some bitches advertise it. Hey, tune in tonight because we're going to have an overrun. What the fuck? Anyway, I digress. Just little shit like that just drives me crazy. And then, of course, Tony blames people outside of the company for criticizing the product and suggests that people like me, like Jim Cornette, like just about anybody that comments anywhere where Tony Khan makes a statement, where they're burying the show. They're burying the show, Tony, because your show sucks. It's not because anybody has an agenda. It's because people had very high hopes. They had very high expectations. You had a tremendous amount of people 5 years ago that were rooting for your success, including me. And you blew it because your vision, or dare I say lack thereof, was only the beginning of your problem. The biggest problem is you do not have a feel for creative. You don't have a clue how to produce television. You're a mere child when it comes to your abilities, your talent, your instincts in producing television. And your audience is telling you that they don't like it. That's what's going on. And we could talk about all the examples. For the last 2 years, I have pointed out what I thought was going to happen. And it's all come true. All of my critiques, and they started out as fairly constructive critiques in the very beginning. All of my critiques were aimed at hopefully, maybe somebody hearing something that would make them go, maybe we should try that. Free advice, if you will, pointing out that your product needs to be episodic. It needs to be story driven as opposed to dream match driven for no apparent reason. Just matches thrown up against the wall because they're dream matches. There are only dream matches to you, Tony, and to Dave Meltzer and the people like you and Dave Meltzer. The vast majority of the audience have lost faith in your product because you continually keep doing the same things over and over and over, despite the fact that they are clearly not working. But hey, blame everybody else. Blame me, blame Jim Cornette. Blame all of the people that comment. You go to Wrestling Inc. and wait for a story that Tony Khan comes out with and gets published, and then read the story, but more importantly, read the comments. That's your audience reacting to the product. And the more, Tony, that you keep coming out like you did today in that interview, well, it was posted today, I don't know when the interview took place, and you keep blaming others for your lack of success and the fact that your ticket sales are falling off a cliff, your ratings are falling off a cliff, no one's watching your show, not enough of an audience to matter. That's on you, Tony. It's not on anybody else.